So in the meantime, we switch country, going from Qatar to India. Next use case, fastest health care insurance settlement platform in the country, which is growing at a very high pace. Please welcome on stage, Mena. Hi.
Thank you, Alexander.
Pleasure. I think we had prepared a video.
A short slide deck, and we also have the COO and CFO of the partner that we worked with also on the link. So hopefully we'll be able to get him here.
Okay, Mena. So we have 15 minutes of time. Please position ourselves just mentally. Which kind of solution do you provide in which part of the value chain?
Absolutely. I think just a bit of a background, and you're going to see that this is a insurance market that is growing explosively. And in order to support this growth, an insurer has to replace its manpower-based operations with tech. So you have underwriting, you have claims. This is a scenario in which claims has got to get taken over 80 to 90% through tech and just reduce people to an absolute minimum, 20% of what would be needed in order to support this scale up, because otherwise a market growing at 50% year on year, this sort of scale up is not possible. So the solution we provide is claims decision making at this sort of scale of millions of claims entirely end to end through AI.
So this has a process automation component. This has a component of AI integration within the process.
That's right. So process automation and automated decision making, like 100% through AI.
Okay. What is your experience about the implementation of this use case throughout the past 12 to 18 months? How did you start? How did you propose the idea to the carrier, in this case, Aditya Birla?
Look, as I shared just a bit ago, Aditya Birla was already hungry for this. This is an organization that's growing 50% year on year. There's other big players in the market, and they're keen to establish their niche. How do we get a footing in a market that's basically exploding? And so they figured that they needed to be a tech-based insurer, and they were willing to work with us. So the mandates came right from the top. They came from the CEO. We've got to get this done. And the interesting thing about working, with Aditya Birla is, like, from the day we got the mandate, like 30 days we're on. Like, okay. It's live within 30 days. You hear about, large scale changes taking, 6 months, 12 months, sometimes years. But here you have, like, we get a mandate, and the 30th day we were live. And guess what? We were late because, the CEO said, you've got to get this up within 15 days. Okay. And that was the expectation set within his own organization. And that's what he wanted us to support. And that's the reason, we were able to get this done. Now, there were a lot of, add-on benefits because of this, but that's what it took.
So you proposed a completely finalized product. You went to the organization, and the organization just ran as well, which is not the usual circumstances you find yourself in the insurance sector. But in this specific case, you proposed a final product. You did the, minor integrations within 30 days to keep
we did
it running?
Major integrations within 30 days.
Major,
okay. with their, policy systems, with their, with their claims workflow systems, all of that. Some of them had to be re-architected. This insurer's systems integrator, Tata Consultancy Services, TCS, got closely involved. The CEO and the COO were monitoring things on a weekly basis. We were raising issues, they were raising issues. These things were getting solved on twice every week. There were, reviews of the team, down below. But that's how it got done.
Okay, and maybe you can share some results after this time in terms of how the process you guys have implemented contributed to the situation of the carrier in terms of how it worked before.
Would love to. Actually, we've got the COO of Aditya Birla on the. No, have we been able to get him?
No sound.
Ah,
You can speak in his name if you want, just to
okay.
share some
So yeah, so
basic
we've
results.
okay, so we've got Amit Jain, who's the CEO and CFO. He's on the conference bridge, but unfortunately we cannot get him. Um, I think we've got this country where there's about 10,000 hospitals that plug into the insurance carrier. In the first month, we had made 6,000 of these hospitals live. Like so, and these 6,000 comprise roughly about 30% of their total volume. So, within 30 days of going live, about 30% of their total volumes was getting covered. This is the insurer, Aditya Birla Health Insurance. There's out of their 10,000 hospitals, 6,000 had gone live within 30 days of go live. 30% of their claims were covered by this. The impact, because this is AI getting implemented, of course there's scale, but the insurer from the very first month began saving 12% of claim payout. So not only is this scalable, this actually saves the dollar spend on claims payout. And this thing is getting tracked week on week. Every week there's MIS is going out. Hey, this week, we saved, $1.5 million. So all of that kind of built in the background, and that's been the impact.
What about velocity? What about pace of attending those claims?
15 seconds is what an average claims decision making is the time for decision making. It's live now. This is a huge shift, and it's actually a great question, right? Because this is a market where to provide the decision on one claim takes on average 8 hours,
Yeah.
and sometimes a couple of days. And all of a sudden, like you have a scenario in which this insurer, their customer is basically standing at the hospital, and they're kind of thinking, well, this is going to take hours, and just like that, the decision is already there, it's approved, and it's great for their customers. It's one of their key value propositions, because of which they are branding themselves all around this sort of solution, and this has kind of become a competitive advantage for them.
I would like to point that competitive advantage out as well, again, because it's not the same, processing a car insurance claim than a health or life insurance claim. You said an average 8 hours, sometimes many days. You usually need to have specific competencies, skills associated to the people that evaluate those claims that are coming in.
Yes.
So doing that in real time means that you need less of those skilled resources. You need less time investing in those resources, working on those claims. But as well, for the end customer, you have direct benefit of giving a solution or an answer in the moment they feel the pain being in the hospital.
Absolutely. So there's 3 or 4 things happening. Like first, your customer who's waiting for hours, right? Like they get a much better experience because their wait is down to 15 seconds, 30 seconds. That's one. You've saved on the processing costs, because as you said, if AI hadn't done this, they would have like doctors and qualified professionals, looking at the claims, looking at whether medically these things are admissible or not. So that's the second benefit. There's actually a third one which I spoke about earlier, because no matter what amount of people you throw at the problem, there's all kinds of overbilling and overtreatment, that comes in, medical bills. You have instances where, there's somebody who's been admitted for a hand fracture, but an ultrasound abdomen is being done. And usually you'll have, manual processors who are missing these things. You have on any given day, 50 pairs of gloves would have been, billed. And it's like, really? 50 pairs of gloves on one day? right? So the AI is catching all of this, and this is basically what's comprising the 10 to 12% claim savings. So yes, absolutely. So all of these three things, you save on the manpower costs, you provide a great experience to your customers, and your claim payout reduces by about 12%.
Um, can you tell us a little bit more on the experience of implementation? As I said before, you approached the organization with a finalized product, and the implementation was quite swift. Um, after being live, having implemented, what about the ongoing improvements of the process and the product itself? Did you use this implementation in order to make your process better, in order to improve on the process?
You know what happens is after implementation, there's a specific, what the thing which is necessary after the implementation is more commercial in nature. It's not more technology enhancements. Now, when the CEO or CEO or any customer is basically bringing on an insurtech like us, that's a massive career risk that they're taking. And you've got to, our perspective is that we've got to deliver not just the technology for them, but the reason they brought the product. And one of those core reasons was the 1.5–2 million week on week of savings, right? So one of the things that needed to happen after implementation is that this savings needed to get computed, it needed to get conveyed and signed off by by the finance folks. That's when this kind of hits the bottom line, and this is the 12%, the $1.5–2 million week on week of savings isn't just conjecture, but beyond the tech, it's then kind of hitting the bottom line where nobody can argue that this has had an impact. So a huge amount of work has happened on that, on making sure that the tech goes all the way through to the bottom line, and that bottom line can then be communicated to the markets in a very simple, easy to digest fashion, and that gives them their market capitalization multipliers and things like that.
So working on the storyline rather than developing the tech.
Yeah. I think there's stuff beyond the tech you've got to do. So a lot of work after implementation has been on that.
Did that implementation have a replication effect for you in the market? Were you able to use that use case and market that?
Massively, because I think word just got out after this particular after Aditya Birla implemented it, and we've the number of inquiries shot up like 10x. So while you say that insurance is is a slow sector, but you've got the same people who are in different insurance companies who've been colleagues earlier, and word travels really quickly.
Yeah.
So it's been it's been good for the sector, and it's good that we can bring this value for them.
We have a question here. Go ahead.
AI-driven claim processing system, right?
Yes.
Hi. I want to understand what are the challenges you faced, because insurance processing platforms are a seamless flow, whereas all of a sudden Aditya Birla is getting a startup, a AI-driven startup, just for one set piece. So how did it disrupt for them, or how it was easy for you to do this? Because coming to a, as you mentioned, 10 to 12% savings is a huge amount when it comes to claim processing, of that much amount of savings to achieve in a short span of time of 60 days with launch. So I want to understand that bit.
So it's a great question, and we would, and it's not we that did it. It was all because of them. It was because of the CEO and the COO who were driving this, and TCS, which provides the in-house system, is only one bit of it, but there was massive resistance, right? I'm from the ecosystem. There's massive resistance because You've got the solution, which is decision-making solution, and you need to interface it with the internal systems, but then they have TPAs, and they have to basically push this out to the TPAs as well. And the TPAs have a different leg of resistance, and they come at you differently. The big takeaway was there is value in AI, but it's not going to happen unless it's driven right from the top, and unless it's kind of, unless it's followed through week on week on week. And that's what those guys did, right? And we can't claim any credit for that. It's entirely, the detailed work done by the CEO and the COO, because of which we managed a TCS, because of which we managed all of those TPAs who frankly saw us as a threat.
Minra, thank you very much, and good luck for the next steps.
Thank you.
So we're gonna hop over to the next forks on stage, implementing a real-time digital health platform in several countries. Hello. How are you? How are you? I saw you with a sword before.
Yes, be careful.
Yeah. So Gurab, Mazin, and Bashir. Yeah, Mike would be good.
Presentation, should we
Yeah,
go
go ahead with the presentation. Activo Labs that
very quickly?
brings the presentation of how they implemented in January.
Yeah, so basically, we are a reinsurer in the value chain, as the title of your summit